Welcome to Jefferson County Post Sports with Mike Stanley. I'm Mike Stanley with my co-host Andrew Briggs. Our guests today are our co-Jefferson County Post Player of the Week, senior Kyle Briggs and senior John Bryan. Guys, thanks for being on with us.
Thanks for having us.
The two are in the 1,000 point club in Jefferson County basketball history. Kyle was able to surpass that mark against Morristown West late last week, while John was able to surpass the mark very early in the season against Maryville. We'll talk a little bit about you first, since you're closest to me. What did it mean to you, for your career to pass the 1,000 mark club, or be in the 1,000 mark club with other players such as John, such as Bryce?
It means a lot. It's a lot of hard work, and I know that a lot of people in there were known as some of the better players in history, and just to be grouped with them is a great honor.
Yeah. John, I asked you the same question. What exactly did it mean to you? I know you did it very early in the season, but for you to be mentioned with some of the names in Jefferson County history.
It's a great honor to even be in the conversation with some of the players. And it's really good to see all the hard work pay off and get past that mark.
Yeah. We'll start with Seymour earlier this week. You guys were able to contain their outside shooting. The first meeting, they kind of got hot from outside. Was that something that you guys worked on in practice, knowing that coming in that, hey, we got to stop their outside shooting?
Yeah, we struggled the first half up there. We gambled a couple times, didn't stop some gaps, left some shooters open, and they made us pay for it. And so when they came down here, we knew they could shoot, and so we made a big emphasis on stopping those gaps and getting out to the shooters.
Yeah, John, specifically in the last 2 or 3 ball games, the defensive intensity has been pretty much outstanding. Of course, getting out to that fast start against Morristown East, then again against Seymour. Started out on a 19-0 run. What is it like when you guys are clicking on defense and turns it into offense?
The energy, it's great to have. It's really a fun ball game to play in when there's a lot of energy, a lot of intensity, and it helps us defensively just have energy and be able to get to the gaps and be able to do what we have to do.
Yeah. Moving ahead now into Friday night, Cobb County came to town. It always seems like Cobb County gives you guys a decent game, even when their team is not that great. Talk a little bit about that and what it means. I know there's players on the other team that you guys have played with and played against for a long time. Talk a little bit about what that means to play Cobb County and beat them.
Well, it's always a tough game because they do play us tough, because they come in, they play hard, they have a lot to prove because, like you said, we have grown up with those kids. And so we know them, and it's Cobb County, Jefferson County. There's a rivalry there. Particular players don't like each other. It's a whole lot more intensity than most games, and that's what I think we usually play them a lot closer than what we should.
Yeah. John, you had 27 last night against Cobb County. A lot of times it seemed like a lot of your points were hard-earned, very tough. You were on the floor a lot last night. Talk a little bit about their defensive pressure against you, and then you still being able to control the game.
Yeah, offensively, we struggled a little bit. We were kind of sloppy. Didn't really play as well as we'd like to, but it was one of those games that you're going to have to just kind of toughen up and get it done. Nothing's going to come easy.
Yeah.
You guys didn't come out very high with a lot of energy. What was something that Coach Poor, you guys relayed the message to you guys to pick up the energy, and what was the key for you guys to pick up that energy?
Well, we were playing sloppy, and he was really trying to motivate us to pick up the energy. We kind of came out flat. So that was the message at halftime, kind of pick it up, pick up the energy, and that's what we tried to do.
I think it had a lot to do with the fact, we'd won our last few games by a big margin. And, Cotton County is towards the bottom of the conference, and I think we thought, hey, we're Jefferson County, we're going to roll out here and they'll just roll over for us. And, that wasn't the case. They came out and they were playing hard, and so, we were lackadaisical, and so that was a big part of how
you guys were without Noah Carter last night. I was speaking with a few people, Chris included. We really didn't think against Cobb County his absence would be that big of an impact. Early on, it seemed like it was. You guys missed the extra on-ball defender and another ball handler.
Yeah, Noah really is a catalyst for our defense because he does create that pressure, and that allows other of us, read passing lanes and get up and take some chances. And then, like you said, he is our second ball handler, and so when we have him or Danny or him or Grant in the game, it really just helps us because if either one of those gets it, they can take it. It doesn't just have to be one, but with him, we're kind of limited to that one ball handler at a time.
Mm-hmm. John, what is your mentality? Night in, night out, you're one of the top scorers on the team. What is your mentality when you get the basketball down low?
When I get down low, I'm always trying to score, but with a lot of these teams that we played before and stuff, they start helping out and start doubling over. So also, it's not always score. It's whenever I get doubled, I'm always trying to look to dish to Kyle Cut, and whoever's name comes over, I try to find them.
Mm-hmm. Moving ahead this week, you all have Cherokee. You've beaten Cherokee already once this season. What is it that Cherokee brings to the table that other teams in the conference don't?
Well, Cherokee's a lot more disciplined than most teams, and they run their offense and they run it until they get the shot they want, and they do play really hard, and they just do everything right that they need to do to give themselves a chance to win.
Yeah. John, moving forward even further into next week, Dobbins Bennett comes in on Thursday. Winners of 10 in a row. They're probably one of the hotter teams in the state. What is it? I know lost to them in the regional final last year. What is it that you're most looking forward to playing Dobbins Bennett again this year?
Yeah, well, this summer we're going to play with some of those guys from Dobbins Bennett, so it's always fun getting to see them and play against them again. They have some good players. It's going to be good competition, help us kind of prepare for that next step throughout the tournament and down to region tournament, prepare for those kind of games.
Yeah, Kyle, I know that you'll be primarily guarding. They're bigs down low. You and John.
Kyle, DB comes into town. What do you think the key for you guys to win that game will be?
DB plays pretty hard, and they've got a pretty good player in Mikhail and Devin, and they like to attack the rim and get to the foul line, and Mikhail can make some shots if you leave him open, so it'll be big to keep him contained and keep Devin contained, and then to keep him off the glass because all 5 guys go pretty hard.
Mm-hmm. John, you mentioned the region tournament coming up and the district, which is first. What do you think a few keys for you guys is to going forward to make a run in the postseason?
Well, we've got to play well. Last couple games have kind of been sloppy, so we've got to clean that up, get rolling again, and get back on track to start winning these games against some teams with some athletes and some better players.
Moving ahead, kind of Andrew alluded to a little bit. Of course, the ultimate goal is to get back to state. What do you think as far as you get down deep into region play and again to sub-state? What are the things that Kyle Briggs and John Bryant have to do better personally that will affect the team in a greater way?
For me, you gotta the team really. I usually guard one of the better players, so it's big on me to keep the defense, especially with Noah out, to keep the defensive intensity up. Try and help from that aspect, and then just work as hard as I can. Go to the boards, get the trash buckets. Just do whatever the team needs me to do to get the win.
Mm-hmm. And John?
We definitely, defense is going to be key, getting stops. And along with those stops, you have to get rebounds. You can't give them second chances. And we're going to have to stop gaps because these teams later on, they'll have a lot of athletes and they're going to be quick, and we're going to have to stop those gaps. We need to be leaders and get the intensity going. Make sure we're prepared and make sure we have energy.
Well, guys, thanks for being with us today. Good luck with the rest of the season, and of course, the postseason coming up. Hopefully, make a run back to the state tournament.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Now, going over to the girls' side of things, Andrew, Jefferson County beat Seymour earlier this week by 16. It was a tough game in the first half. Jefferson County kind of upped the defensive tempo in the second half.
Yeah. The defense really got their intensity got a whole lot higher in the second half with their defense, and really asserted themselves in the second half and got the win.
Yeah, Tori, she's been, she was on the show with us a few weeks back. She's really been playing pretty well as of late.
Yeah, she's been shooting the ball really good and really hot for them. I think that's a good key, is when they shoot the ball well, they play really good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with her.
Yeah, if you go back to the Morristown West game for the girls' side, until now, the stretch of those 2 or 3 games, 4 games right there, they've really just played really good basketball.
Yeah, they'd easily be one of the top 10 teams in the state if they keep playing like the way they are right now. They have played basketball that if you went and watched them, you'd say this team can make a run in the postseason. But they have to keep playing like that, and Coach Sennard, I think, will keep those girls playing. Yeah,
and you move it into the Cobb County game here, and Jefferson County knew that with 1 game left in the conference now, after the Cobb County game, that they really needed this game to put themselves into position, really good position to win the conference. And of course, Cobb County defeated them back at Cobb County before, and they were able to beat Cobb County last night, 57-37, and really control Micah.
Yeah, they controlled that game pretty much the whole game. They came out early and I think put it on, sent Cobb County a message that they weren't going to back down to them and that they were ready to play. And they really shut Micah down. They frustrated her. She looked frustrated, and she didn't shoot the ball well. And really, credits to all the girls for doing that.
Yeah, I will give credit where credit is due. I think your student section had a little bit to do with Micah looking a little frustrated at times. You guys were on her pretty tough. But as you said, she was frustrated. She's one of the better players in our conference, and she really just couldn't get anything going last night. As it was, Jefferson County was able to win 57-37, and they host Cherokee on Tuesday night. And Cherokee's very, very, very young on the girls' side, and the last time these two teams met, it was a blowout.
Yeah, it wasn't a good game at all. I think all the girls got to play, and I think the subs played the whole fourth quarter, and it wasn't much of a ball game from the start.
Yeah, I think it was around 40 was the game, and then of course Dobbins Bennett coming in. Dobbins Bennett may not be as good on the girls' side as they were in years past this season. It still is Dobbins Bennett. They still have playmakers. They still have athletes.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that game for sure. What is it that you see that Jefferson County probably needs to improve on to not slip up against Dobbins Bennett?
I definitely think their defense intensity on the defensive side of the ball, because their offense is going to come and go no matter where you are or where you're playing. It's just going to come and go. You're going to make shots sometimes you're on, but your defense can always be there and you can always count on it. And I think sometimes the girls lack the defense from some nights that they're not all there and that they're all focused and ready to play defense.
Yeah.
I think that can cause a problem in the future.
Right, and of course, Coach Sennard mentioned earlier this week while I was speaking with him, they need to finish their shots underneath.
Yeah.
That they struggle for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
They struggle with shots underneath the basketball goal.
Yeah.
And two, they probably need to sum up a little bit of free throws.
Mm-hmm.
There's some games they'll go stretches and their free throws will be under 50%.
Yeah.
Now this last game, I think they shot probably around 60%. That's much better, much improved. But look, going forward, Jefferson County definitely has a team on both sides of the ball, boys and girls, that can make a run deep into the region tournament region tournament and getting to the top 2 there, and then able to play a sub-state game again.
Yeah.
Which, as you know, the sub-state atmosphere is just electric.
Like any other.
Yeah.
They'll be around.
Yeah. You look back last year at the girls' game against Farragut.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably the loudest high school gym that I've ever been into. And then, of course, Jefferson County boys able to beat Powell up there in Powell. That like we said before, the atmosphere is just electric.
Yeah. And I think for the players that that's a hard thing to play with. If you're on an opposing floor or a neutral floor with fans, everybody screaming. I mean, sometimes it's hard for a player to step up to that line and make that shot that will win the game.
Moving ahead now to Vols football recruiting, we are now 4 days away from National Signing Day. It's a big time for all kinds of high school athletes, specifically in football. And Tennessee right now has a top 5 class.
Yes.
Highlighted by Khalil McKenzie. He's a 5-star defensive tackle out of California. And he is what you would call, if you wanted to call somebody a Vol for life, he's not even on campus yet. But man, he's fired up about playing for the Vols.
Yeah, he is. You definitely follow him on Twitter. He's all the time saying he can't wait to get to Knoxville and everything. And he's definitely good for other recruits to recruit others and maybe convince another one to come there.
Now, earlier this week, Tennessee got a commitment from Cortez Sapp out of Alpharetta, Georgia, out of Milton High School. You and I saw him at the Arby's Classic on the basketball side of things when he participated in the slam dunk contest.
Yes, he's a very athletic young man, as you can see in that dunk contest. I think he'll make a good college football player.
Yeah, he's very athletic, like you say. He plays outside linebacker. He's a 4-star outside linebacker, and chose Tennessee over Arkansas and the University of Miami. Now, this being the weekend before National Signing Day, of course, this is the final weekend for Butch and his staff to make those pitches for, hey, come to Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, the biggest one being Drew Richmond, offensive tackle out of Memphis. He's the #1 player in the state of Tennessee, number 12 player in the country, and he's on campus right now as we speak.
Yeah, I think Butch is definitely pushing as hard as he can right now, giving his best pitch as he can for Drew Richmond, and I think a lot of people are trying to help that out and trying to get him to Tennessee.
Yeah, right now Drew Richmond, he's committed to Ole Miss, committed to him back early in the fall. He's now kind of leaning toward Tennessee, so don't be surprised on Wednesday if he does flip that commitment and does actually sign with the Vols and even boost them further up in the rankings and recruiting.
Yeah, and I think this class is a really building block really for Butch and Tennessee, because this is a real good class for them, that for a program that hadn't done anything in a few years, and this year being to a bowl the first time in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's good for the program inside, for the fan base.
It is, and on top of that, they've signed 3 quarterbacks with this class, or have commitments from 3 quarterbacks in the class. Quentin Dormley being on campus already, and that's kind of unheard of in recruiting, to take 3 quarterbacks in one class.
Yeah.
But I think Ohio State has proven to us that, hey, you need to have 3 good quarterbacks, because there they are with 3 good quarterbacks, and they're winning the national championship.
You never know what's going to happen in football. I mean, anything can happen. So I think that's good for Butch that he got one. I would say probably one or two of those will probably redshirt.
And of course, next week we will be going into the Tennessee recruiting and signing day a little more in depth, as Jefferson County Post columnist David Swan will be with us, and we'll have more coverage on Tennessee's recruiting class. Andrew, let's talk a little bit about the big game tomorrow. You got the Seahawks and the Patriots. How do you see the game going?
Well, I personally think the Seahawks are going to win, because I think Russell Wilson and Marshawn Lynch is just too much for the Patriots defense, that they'll overpower them and come through at the end, just because that Marshawn Lynch is such an overpowering back with beast mode and all his Skittles that he eats on the sidelines, you know? I mean, so I think the Seahawks will come out and win.
Yeah, Skittles definitely do give you a little more motivation.
Yeah.
I know they do me.
Yeah.
I think the ball I think the ball game actually comes down to the ball. If the ball has enough air in it,
Yeah.
you know, then I think the Seahawks have the advantage.
Yeah.
Now,
But you gotta watch carefully though, because those ball boys will sneak in there and get those balls, and you never know what will happen.
Right, but I do think if the ball is a little underflated, okay, I think that gives the edge to the Patriots. For some reason, something just tells me to say that.
I think if it's even just a tiny amount, the Patriots got the advantage. They win the game.
Yeah, and of course I think that will help. That will help the Patriots, and I do think the Patriots will win the game. I think that Tom Brady's been there before. Of course, the Seahawks have been too. They won it last year, but Tom Brady's been there before. He knows his way around the Super Bowl, and he's clutch, and he'll find a way to win the game in the end, whether it be with his arm or something else. You know,
Maybe his hair.
Maybe his hair. It might be his hair.
Yeah, maybe.
I just think that the Patriots will find a way to win, and I think it'll be on large part because Richard Sherman will mess up in the game because he talks so much trash, man. He can't keep talking as much trash as he does and get away with it. Somebody's going to have to burn him once or twice.
Well, I mean, the man came out last year and said he was the greatest, and I think he backed it up completely.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna attack him. Everybody's scared of him, and I think if he gets some of the Skittles in him, he'll win.
So, Andrew thinks that the key to the game is Skittles.
Yes.
And I think it has to do with the football itself and if it has proper air in it or not. But either or, okay. The Super Bowl, it is the biggest game of the season. Millions and millions of people are going to be watching it.
Yeah.
Millions of people try to get on commercials for $4.5 million for 30 seconds, which is ridiculous.
Yes.
And
I think we should get one next year.
I'll talk to Jeff and Chrissy and see if we can, find a way to get on that. That'd be
I
good.
think we can.
You think so?
Yeah.
That'd be great.
We can have Skittles. We can eat Skittles on the point.
I think Skittles should be famous now, as much as you mentioned it. But I do think it is going to come down. It'll be a close ball game. Seriously speaking, it'll be a close ball game. Both teams are obviously the best in their conference, and really, the Patriots and Tom Brady have been there so many times that's what it's going to come down to. It'll be Tom Brady and the New England offense against the Seahawks. Outstanding defense.
Yes, which is such a good defense that probably the best the NFL's seen in years. That their defense and their cornerbacks with Chancellor and Sherman, two outstanding cornerbacks. But I do think that will overpower Tom Brady. And even though he's been there before, these guys have been there and they're fired up for the game. And I think that will bring them to championship.
Yeah, watching the NFL Network earlier this week, Michael Irvin, he did say, if Tom Brady wins his 5th Super Bowl against this defense, he said, I'll call him the best that's ever played.
Yeah.
So that's something to be said in itself. I will say Patriots 28, Seahawks 27.
I'm going to have to go Seahawks 24. Patriots 21.
There you have our predictions. You need to watch the Super Bowl at home to find out who will really win the game. I'd like to take this time now to wish the Jefferson County Post a happy 4-year birthday, as we've been serving the community now. This marks our 4th year. For Andrew Briggs, I'm Mike Stanley. Thank you guys for watching.